with that being said, we are going to ease into the real main event. Unless you had anything over the last week of Alabama basketball you felt like noting.
They didn't. I don't even think they played. They played tonight. I don't think they played since the last time we had a
Are they
podcast. I,
are they playing currently?
they play in like 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I'm currently missing it. It's a Hod Pettiford legacy game right now. He has 18 points, and he's 8 for 15 from the field. Best game of the season, and I'm missing it, unfortunately. Uh, one I guess one last thing to note about basketball. Keyshawn Hall got hurt against Houston. Did not play against who did we play?
Jack State.
Yeah. He did not play against Jack State. He is playing right now. He is in the game. So that's always good. Um, but let's get into the real main event. Um, we did not really talk about how we wanted to do this. If you wanted to say your piece, my piece, because it's gonna be a lengthy conversation.
Yeah, I mean, look, um, I'll share my 2 cents. This is terrifying. It's terrifying. But Alabama has been really good on the road in uncomfortable situations this year. Um, I mean, every time we've played on the road has been uncomfortable, and outside of that very first game, they found a way to get it done. We'll say that. Um, so I think, of course, they find a way to get it done here, but I do think it's a close game, as always, when it's down there in the Voodoo Stadium. Um, I, Ty doesn't need to have an amazing day. He just doesn't need to turn the ball over. If he can protect the football, I think our defense and our wide receiver playmakers and uh, mix in the slight bit of running game that we do have, I think that will be enough to win this football game in close fashion, but enough to win. It would be a bonus for Ty to play elite. Um, the key to the game, in my opinion, protect the football. Protect the football. I think if Alabama wins the turnover margin, they win the game. If they lose the turnover margin, they lose the game. I think it comes down to that. Controlling penalties on the road. Alabama's been really good avoiding penalties recently, but continuing to do that on the road in a hostile environment will be really important. Um, and then of course Ashton Daniels, he can move a little bit. He has some wheels to him. Make sure he does not kill you on the ground. When it's 3rd and 3, and Auburn is on the 30-yard line, like their own 30-yard line, we need to get off the field on those. Keeping the ball away from them and in our possession and not turning the ball over and giving them favorable field position. I think, Alabama's found a way to win those type of games over and over and over again this year. And I like their odds to do it this Saturday if they can turn it into that kind of game. Um, but it is the Iron Bowl. Anything can happen. Anything has happened. You dream it, it's happened, for both sides. Blocked kicks, made kicks, missed kicks, return for a touchdown. Freaking 4th and 31. Dadgum, 47 seconds left on the clock. 99-yard drives. Um, 4 overtimes. Like you name it, it's happened in this game. Um, so I love this game. I hate this game. But it is the Iron Bowl. Us versus them. Those guys down there. Brett Bryant said, there's nothing better than beating that cow college down there on the plains. Um, and yes, this week, nothing else matters. Beating that cow college down there. And I hope there's been enough, honestly, for Alabama being favored by 5.5, something like that, 5.5, 6.5, something like that. I've even seen 3.5 from ESPN. But Alabama favored nonetheless. Um, it seems like the general consensus from the public is Alabama's they're picking against Alabama. I think that plays in Alabama's favor. This is not a trap game. This is not one of those sneak up on you games. This is not that. This is a hey, we know that they're about to bring it. It's just avoiding the dark magic that it inevitably comes out of that stadium, seemingly every time we go down there and play them. Um, so it's not avoiding the trap, it's avoiding the obvious, yet you think you could stop it, yet you never can stop it. Um, my hope is the dark magic has run out. The dark magic has not showed up there in the past few years, both versus Georgia or Alabama. So I'm hoping the dark magic has kind of worn off a little bit, and Alabama just goes in there and handles business, and makes it onto the SEC championship game. I think it's close. Give me the Tide, of course. Of course, it's no brainer. Um, but I'm worried sick for this game. I'm terrified, but I have confidence because I do think Alabama is the better team. I think they're the better coached team. Um, yeah, I don't know. If this was played any other Saturday anywhere else, I would be so much more confident. But man, it's this the Saturday after Thanksgiving. It's down there on the plains. Auburn has nothing to lose. Alabama has everything to lose. Dadgummit, this is when it happens, doesn't it? But I don't know. I'm gonna try not to wig myself out too much, but I know how this goes, and I'm worried. I'm worried.
Uh, Anybody who thinks this is a trap game does not know football. This is the Iron Bowl. There's no say. It's not a trap game. It's the Iron Bowl. The best rivalry in all of sports, I would argue. Um, before I say anything, I have a fun fact for you. So we rolled Toomer's Corner after a win. Do you know how that started? Do you know the story of it?
No idea.
Okay, so in the 1960s, Toomer's Toomer's drug shop, we all know Toomer's. Um, they had one of the only telegraphs in the area. So after Auburn would win a game, they would take the telegraph paper and throw it over the power lines. Well, in 1972, going into the Iron Bowl, I don't know the player's name, but a specific player for for the Auburn Tigers said, "We are going to beat the dog crap out of Alabama." And with that wording, the telegraph paper turned into toilet paper after Auburn beat Alabama and they rolled Toomer's Corner for the first time. And ever since, that has been the tradition after a win. You win, you roll. So there's my fun fact. If you do not know the story of Toomer's, that is the story of Toomer's Corner and why we roll it. So I'm hoping we beat the dog crap out of Bama. Probably won't happen. I don't know about the dog crap, but I do firmly believe, which it don't matter who the head coach is. It don't matter who the starting quarterback is. It don't matter how good or how bad we've been all year. I'm always going to firmly believe that we beat the Crimson Tide. Look, I think. Oh, before I say anything else, another fun fact is the Alabama, the Iron Bowl has been played 5 total times at night in Jordan-Hare. Auburn is 4-1 in those times, and I think overall in Jordan-Hare they're 10-7,
10-8.
10-8. So obviously the odds are in your favor. 4-1 is what I'm going based off of, because it's a night game. I think the last time this game was played at night was 2012. I think it was
Something like
2012. The last time they won at night was 2007, I believe. But I couldn't ask for anything better. It's kind of funny. They were trying to determine what time the Iron Bowl game was, and me and my wife was trying to figure out plans and things like that on how we was going to work around that day. It's like, oh, the game's always at like 3 or 4:30, why would that be any different this year? Don't even worry about it. Then they come out and say 6:30. That was funny, because that really blew up in my face in a good way. Look, Nick Saban has said it. The Alabama fans know it. And I guess that's what's getting me the most hyped and the most excited. I'm seeing a lot of Bama fans that aren't saying that they're gonna lose, but Bama fans are worried. The Alabama Crimson Tide is worried. This isn't something that you can just say, oh, it's Auburn. They weren't that good this year. Let's just roll on by. I mean, obviously you prepare for the Iron Bowl, but this year there's a lot on the line. Auburn's looking for their head coach. Auburn's trying to become bowl eligible. These Auburn players want to win for DJ Durkin. It's a 6:30 night game in Jordan-Hare. Alabama has to win to get into the playoffs. I love it. I love it. There's nothing else I can say other than I love it. This is what football, college football, sports, this is what it's about right here. Both teams, everything on the line. Obviously, not everything on the line for Auburn, but there is still things on the line for Auburn. Obviously, everybody's saying Auburn has nothing to lose. Right, they really don't. But I promise you, these kids want to play a bowl game. These seniors, these guys that are, graduating or going to the draft, they don't want this to be their last game. There would be nothing they would love more than to beat Bama to be able to play more football. There would be nothing more than that they would love more. DJ Durkin knows how serious this is. All of these guys know how serious this is. Ashton Daniels, I'm pretty sure he grew up an Auburn fan. He knows how serious this is. He will be a starting quarterback. DeMarcus Riddick, obviously, they didn't go as he planned. Last year, said, I will not lose to Bama. He knows how serious this is, even though he won't be playing. These guys know how serious it is. If you want to come to Auburn, that Iron Bowl is just as important as winning a national championship. You win the Iron Bowl. That's what you're supposed to do. And there's been a lot of Alabama victories. I think the last time Auburn won was 2019. There's been a lot of Bama victories. And here's my thing. We've lost now 6 years in a row, I believe. And next year we go to Bama. We go into Bryant-Denny. So you're going to tell me we lose 7 and then 8 and then potentially 9 years in a row? I don't believe that. So I think that plays into the favor. I'm talking a lot. Look, I think the path to winning is very clear. That might sound surprising, but I think the path to winning is very clear. It has been made I don't want to say very obvious, but it has been made apparent in the past few weeks of Alabama Crimson Tide football. If you put pressure on Ty Simpson, he's going to want to, he's either going to hold on a little bit too long or he's going to release it too early. He gets a little bit nervous, a little bit antsy in that pocket. All right? We saw it against South Carolina. We saw it against, who they play after South Carolina? I can't remember.
LSU.
Yeah, we saw it against LSU a little bit. And who did they play after LSU? Oklahoma. And we saw it against Oklahoma. And, that's 3 straight teams in a row where you're like, all right, they're getting to Ty Simpson, and look at how he's responding. I said it earlier in the year. This is an elite pass rush group. Keldrick Faulk got, quote-unquote, in heavy quotations, injured against Mercer, where they kind of just set him the rest of the game. I was never worried. It's been made clear that he's going to play, obviously. Look, you go out there and do what you have been doing defensively all year and let Derek Nix, a guy who's fighting for his position, drop an absolute masterclass with an Ashton Daniels who's had now 2 weeks to rest. Essentially, it'll be 3 weeks because because you'll have the bye week. Then he didn't play against Mercer, and then the week leading up to the Iron Bowl. So essentially 3 weeks of rest. He's going to be totally healthy. Cam Coleman's going to be ready to go. Eric Singleton's going to be ready to go. These guys are hungry. I think that is the best thing about getting the bye before Mercer. You know, it's very late in the year, but guess what? All you had to do was get Mercer out of the way, and now it's the Iron Bowl. So a lot of your key guys are getting 3 weeks of rest. So like I said, you have to put pressure on the quarterback. My biggest worry is not Ryan Williams, is not Bernard. My biggest concern is Cuevas. You have to contain Cuevas. We've had troubles with tight ends. It was shown against Baylor. It was shown against Texas A&M. Shown against Oklahoma. It was shown against Georgia. We just have Kentucky, Vanderbilt. We have a problem with tight ends. I think the biggest concern is containing Cuevas. Make somebody else beat you other than a tight end. Make sure Ryan Williams doesn't get out on those little bubble screens. You know, contain him behind the line when he gets those opportunities. Bernard's going to leave his stamp on the game. Just contain him when you can. Pressure Ty Simpson. Don't let Cuevas have a big game, and I think you win the ball game. I'm very confident in that. Bama's defense has really come together at the end of this season. They look a lot better than they did in the beginning of the year. To me personally, I think it's going to be a lot like the Arkansas game, where you didn't necessarily score a lot of touchdowns, but your defense can definitely make it happen. I'm not saying we're going to get 4 turnovers, but I think the defense can really make things shake. I think that can be a real game changer. I don't think you need to score 5 touchdowns to beat Bama. I don't. I really don't. I think you need a few good drives. I think you need to come out and punch Bama in the mouth, whether that's offensively or defensively. Keep pressure on Ty Simpson. Don't let Cuevas going. Ashton Daniels, let your playmakers be playmakers, and I think you win the ball game.
Yeah, I like what you said about Isaiah Cuevas. He is huge for this game. If Allen, I said I think the game comes down to turnover margin. I think another thing that is going to be really important is containing Cam Coleman, just not letting him make those insane, stupid catches. Those alien-like catches that he's been having. Don't let him have those. Shut those down. Don't let Ashton Daniels kill you with the run. And then win the turnover margin. If Alabama does those 3 things, I feel very confident they win the football game. Cam Coleman's going to have plays. Ashton Daniels is going to get runs. Alabama's probably going to turn the ball over. But how you respond to that and ensuring that it's kind of contained and not letting it spread throughout the whole course of the game, and letting it get in your head is going to be really important. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know. It's the Iron Bowl. We could sit here and talk about the players, the stats. None of it matters. None of it matters. At the end of the day, one team is going to come out and find a way to get it done. Either one team is going to persevere through the voodoo magic, or they're going to crumble, or the other team is just going to show up when it matters. It's how it always works in this game when it's down there. So I don't have a read on it. I feel very confident that, you win the turnover margin. You don't let Cam Coleman have 80 insane catches versus you. You don't let Ashton Daniels run for 150 yards. I feel very confident Alabama would win that kind of game. But it is the Iron Bowl. Only the Iron Bowl could you control all those 3 aspects of the game and still end up losing. Like Alabama's been in uncomfortable situations many times throughout the year on the road. This is going to be the most uncomfortable one. This will be more uncomfortable than going into Georgia. Just how do they respond? How do they persevere? How do they find a way to win? This Alabama team is as good as any other as finding a way to win football games. So can they keep doing it? Ultimately, my prediction, I'm gonna stay with my team. I think after the game's over, and we can talk about this a week from now, I think Auburn fans are going, as much as they never want to see Alabama win, I think they are going to wish that Oklahoma had not beaten Alabama. Because now Alabama is, all the voodoo magic and stuff. That Alabama is looking at this like an elimination game. Everything they've worked for all year and all offseason is on the line. And they know that that every single staff, every single player is fully aware of that. So you best believe they're coming in fully focused and knowing what can take place in the stadium. They've seen it. They've seen all the voodoo magic. It's not going to sneak up on them. This is not going to surprise them. So I think ultimately, um, as much as you don't want to lose to Oklahoma, a loss to Oklahoma almost makes me slightly more confident, knowing that Alabama's not going to go in there just knowing that they have the SEC championship game and probably a playoff spot locked up. They know they have to earn it now. Um, so we don't know right now until after the game, but I think with an Alabama win, the conversation next week will be, as an Auburn fan, do you wish Alabama had beaten Oklahoma? And that way, maybe you could catch Alabama slacking a little bit because I don't think you're going to catch them slacking this week. You're going to have to beat them. You're going to have to beat them with them fully focused. But that stupid stadium. Only in that stupid stadium this could whack crap happen the way it can, for better or for worse. Lately it's been on the Bama side. Can it happen 3 times in a row? I don't know. We'll find out. We shall find out in just a few days. Um, I got that knot in my stomach, and it will be there all week, and it will be there until the game is over on Saturday. And yeah, I don't know. This might have to be one of those we don't text each other throughout the game rules, because it means too much. This game means too much to be playing around. Um, man, I think coming out to a fast start and taking the Auburn crowd out of it is so important. So important. Alabama needs a stop and a score, or a score and a stop. Um, and ideally, if Alabama gets the ball first, go score, get a stop, go score. If you can do that and then get a stop, and at that point, I think all you got to do is just somewhat control the field position. Obviously, that's not a guaranteed win, but at that point, the crowd's kind of getting sucked out of it. Every Auburn player that's kind of sitting in there knowing what transpires in that stadium and knowing the hope that goes into going in that game. The starters aren't going to think that, but there's bench players who slowly are going to start losing belief, and they start showing it on their faces, and then the starters start seeing that, and as the game goes on, it can just wear down. And then on the flip side, Alabama players who have heard about the voodoo crap, all the black magic, they're starting to not believe that. They're starting to realize, you know what? No, we are the better team. We're going to go in here and win. So getting out to a fast start, um, or a turn early lead, is going to be so important, because the longer that place believes, it's a meter. The longer you wind it up, the more, when it gets let go and the black magic spews out of that place, the more black magic there is. And so we do not need to let y'all have belief. If we're heading into the fourth quarter and it's a tie ball game, that place is gonna be crazy, and that's when I'd be worried. Um, so getting out to an early lead, preventing turnovers from our end. Don't let Cam Coleman do stupid things, which is easier said than done. And I like our chances. I really like our chances, especially if we get out to an early lead. 10-0, get out 10-0. Be huge. Would be huge. It cannot be like when Georgia went to town. Alabama, you cannot go down 10-0, 17-0, let's be real, and find a way to win. You're just not. You are not. Alabama started slow the past few games. You need to get out hot. You need to. Run it up when you can, because when the black magic starts spewing out of that place come the fourth quarter, you don't want any part of it. You don't want any part of it. So suck it out of there before it can get out.
One thing I do want to say, um, big, I guess, real game changer. Two things I do have to say is Sylvester Smith. He kind of plays our star position. He will be out for at least a half. And there's no word on availability for the Iron Bowl. But last week I heard that Horatio Fields was in full pads practicing. Don't know his availability. Don't know if he'll play. Don't know if he'll play snaps. But I know that last week he was in pads practicing.
Good for him.
Just to go, I want to go ahead and answer your question that you have for me next week. I want to answer it now. Yes, I'm happy Oklahoma beat Bama. Because I think, for all the same reasons you're saying it helps Bama, I think it helps Auburn. I think these players know that they have a chance to end Alabama's season. They know that. They know for a fact that if they win this ball game, Alabama's hopes and dreams and everything that they work for is gone. And so when you have a team that's already lost all of that themselves, when they've already lost, everything that they worked for and they can't get that, what is it like human responses to take? If I can't have it, you can't either. And those players in that locker room know that. They smell. It's like a shark in blood-infested waters, man. I think that they know Bama is in trouble. They know Bama needs it, and that's why they want it all the more. I think they want it more than they know. They know that Bama needs it. That makes them hungrier, and I'm excited for that. I truly believe that that's going to make these Auburn players hit harder, run faster, play better, make insane catches like Cam Coleman. I have this feeling. Well, I have this feeling every year. So take that what you will. But I just think these players know that they have a chance to end all of that. And give Kalen DeBoer, maybe a goodbye, a farewell tour,
Nah, he ain't got nowhere.
Kalen DeBoer loses this Iron Bowl, he might take that Penn State job. Who knows?
I heard that got shut down. Hey, dude, I just talked to him on Saturday, man. He said he wasn't going. We had a conversation, dude.
There would be nothing I love more. There would be nothing I love more than to ship him off. I'm going to treat him like how I treated Lincoln Riley after he left Oklahoma, knowing they had to come to the SEC. I don't know.
I don't look.
I think if this game is played 100 times, I think Auburn wins 60 of them. I am that confident. I think everything favors Auburn right now. Because
except for the talent and the head and the coaching
and believe it or not, I believe talent-wise, they're fairly equal. I think Auburn's roster is about as talented as Alabama's roster. With DJ Durkin as head coach, I'm more confident with DJ Durkin as our interim head coach than I was with Hugh Freeze, our head coach. And I'm not saying that just because Hugh Freeze is gone. I truly mean that.
DJ wouldn't blitz too?
Huh?
DJ wouldn't blitz too?
What do you mean?
Talk about 4th and 31. He would send more than two at Jalen Monroe?
I would believe so, yes. I would believe DJ would do that. And he will do that because he will be calling the plays. That, I just want to make that clear that is my biggest concern about this game. Is how involved is DJ Durkin with this whole process of getting prepared for Bama. I would assume considering this is his job interview, and this is the Iron Bowl. But Mercer came out and had two very successful drives to open the game against Auburn. Vanderbilt essentially had their way with Auburn. Um, and that is my main concern. It's not the talent, it's the play calling and the film study. Now, let's be real. I'm not as concerned about this game as I would be the Vanderbilt game or, kind of like the Mercer game. You spend your whole year, if you're Alabama or Auburn, watching each other play. You watch this film all year. And so I do think he, has a sense of readiness and is, prepared to a certain extent to call plays this game. And I think, that's another thing I think favors Auburn. We've had so many changes this year that I don't know if Bama is fully prepared. Like I said, you game plan all year. Well, now, if you're Alabama, you've watched Jackson Arnold take snaps, you've watched Deuce Knight take snaps, you've watched Ashton Daniels take snaps, and now you've got a all new play caller that has never really called plays outside of the 2 games we've seen at Auburn. So what does that mean for Bama? And so I think that's another thing that really favors Auburn. And I don't think Vanderbilt's defense is as good as Alabama's. But if Ashton Daniels can play the way he did against Vandy against Alabama, I think Auburn wins. Very, not easily, but I think it could be like a 2-possession game if Ashton Daniels looks that good again. I seriously do believe that. I'm not just saying that. I just think, with the way he maneuvered the pocket, knew when to run, knew when to throw, knew when to throw the ball away, knew when to take the check downs. I think that is absolute worst nightmare for Alabama. If Ashton Daniels looks that good again, that is absolute worst case scenario for Alabama. And I don't know. I don't know what I'll see. I'm still nervous about Ashton Daniels, and what we'll see from him. I just hope with 3 weeks of him and Derek Nix getting ready for this Alabama defense that it is good. And like I said, I think defensively it's very clear on what you need to do. Contain Cuevas and rush Ty Simpson. I'm not worried defensively. I think it's all offensive for Auburn's path to win. I think the defense will do their job, and I'm not really concerned for them.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into the scoring just a little bit, but I do think it's a little bit low scoring. If it is higher scoring, I would be concerned as an Alabama fan. By low scoring, I mean like in the 20s. If it's in the 30s or 40s, I'm worried as an Alabama fan. High 30s, 40s, I'm worried. Because at that point, someone's caught a rhythm, and at this point, I would feel more confident, honestly, that being Auburn rather than Alabama. But I do think I think this Alabama defense will be the hardest defense that Derek Nix has had to go against, as well as Ashton Daniels. That's not controversial. I think that's pretty obvious. They've only played Vandy and Mercer. I don't know. I'm gonna trust my guys. I think this team is built for the moment like this, a moment where nobody believes in them, similar to Georgia, a moment where everybody's talking about what could go wrong, talking about the pass rush getting to Ty, yada yada, and when that happens, I think this team shows up, and I think they will inevitably prove a lot of people wrong and go into Jordan-Hare and get a win.
Yeah, kind of to go back on what you said earlier. Yeah, my phone will be on D&D this game. I'm not talking or texting nobody. I'm already going to be in a house full of Bama fans. I don't need any extra noise.
Fair enough.
The fear will set in after kickoff for me. nervousness and the fear of what if we lose. But right now, I'm very confident. I'm talking my talk. If we lose, I'll be able to die on my hill. I do it every year. I've done it for 6 years in a row now. I don't know. There's nothing better than the Iron Ball though. Truly
No,
am excited.
nothing.
I do want to I want you to pick 4 total players, 2 players on the offense, 2 players on the defense, on Alabama's key to victory. Who do you think their key players are?
Offensively, I would say nobody in particular. I'm just gonna say our offensive line. Um, because you're on the offensive line, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I would just say the offensive line as a collection, making sure Ty has time, and then it's cliche, but Ty Simpson protecting the football. That's it. You don't have to. I mean, you're gonna have to make some big plays, but you're not gonna have to be elite. You're just gonna have to protect the football. Um, Other than that, I think everybody else handles their business accordingly. But it's the offensive line handling the pass rush, and then Ty handling the pass rush and different looks Auburn will give him. Defensive side of the ball, I'm gonna go with Yonze Pierre, linebacker. He's showed up big in big moments at many times this year in getting sacks, making really good open field tackles. That doesn't really show up on the box score. It just shows up as a tackle, but in reality, they are huge tackles. So I think relying on him to have a good game. He's had a quiet past couple games. This game needs to be big. And then I'm gonna go with a guy like Dejon Lee. Dejon Lee is a true freshman cornerback, but he's got significant amount of playing time this year, and he's 6'5". I think you're gonna see him on Cam Coleman a lot, just to match Cam Coleman physically, to try to keep him from making those insane catches. Him, whenever he is on Cam Coleman, being able to hold his ground well enough is gonna be really big.
Okay. Those were not names that I expected defensively. I will say that.
Yeah.
Offensively, I'm having a real hard time to not say the obvious names. But I think I'm just going to go with the obvious names because they're obvious for a reason. I think the 2 needle movers offensively are Ashton Daniels and Cam Coleman. Like I said, if Ashton Daniels looks how we did against Vanderbilt, even like half of that, I think Auburn looks really good, and they just win. And obviously, Cam Coleman. And in most games, when you know they're going to go after your number 1 target, I would say, okay, you have Eric Singleton for a reason. I think this is the Cam Coleman game. I think Cam Coleman has to be effective. He has to make these freakish plays. Cam Coleman has to show why he's the best wide receiver in the SEC and potentially the best wide receiver in all of college football. I think he has to show that this week. I have to think that partially has to do with just, Ashton Daniels getting him an opportunity. Those are my 2 offensive ones. I know they're obvious. Sue me. And then defense. I'm going to kind of do what you did and go with 2 rooms. I'm going to go with 2 rooms. Well, no. Look, it's the same thing for Cam Coleman. Kieran Crawford. You're a projected top 15 pick in the draft. Show why. Show them why. And I think as long as you're a force to be reckoned with, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have 3 sacks this game. But draw that double team every time. Leave the offensive line occupied with you. Because I have full faith if you're getting double teamed every time and the other side has to deal with Kieran Crawford all by themselves, I love it. I am 1,000% okay with that. They have to deal with Colin Simmons and Jay Hardy every time, Malik Autry, all of these guys. This is an elite defensive line group. As long as they have to double you every time, Kieran Crawford, somebody is going to get there. You don't have to make plays. Just be a troublemaker so that way they have to stop you from making plays. That is fine with me. Kieran Crawford, you have to demand the double team. As long as you do that, you're doing your job. And then outside of that, I don't know. I'm going to go with Xavier Atkins. He's been simply one of the best linebackers in all of college football. An argument for best linebacker in the SEC. One of the best defenders on this team. Disrupts plays. He sees it before it happens. He's going to be a guy that potentially is in coverage on Cuevas. Maybe other guys will be out there like Elijah Melendez or Robert Woodyard would be guarding him. That will be seen in the game. Probably Robert Woodyard. But I have no doubt that Xavier Atkins will have to watch Cuevas at certain times. Ty Simpson is not a guy who scrambles a lot, but he will if he needs to. Xavier Atkins is not known for letting that happen very often. I think that will remain a thing. And one of the keys to winning this game defensively, Bama has finally shown life in the run game. Kill it. End it all right now. They got some momentum. End it. And he's going to be a big part in that. And so as long as those two guys do those two things, do what they've been doing all year, essentially. You just have to do what you've been doing all year defensively, and you put yourself in a really good position to win this football game.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot much else to say. I'm terrified. I'm confident. I'm hopeful. Every single emotion you could possibly feel heading into a football game, that is me. I know it can happen. I'm just hopeful it doesn't. I don't know what else to say. It's the Iron Bowl. You gotta love it. One way or the other, if you're a football fan, you have to love this game.
I don't see how you don't. I think it's so fun. I'm a little distracted. I'm just trying to see if Auburn will put this game away.
Yeah, I'm also watching the Alabama game. Yeah.
And oh my gosh. It looks like they will. After giving Oregon like 3 offensive rebounds and a second chance every time. They missed though. But yeah, I think I could talk about this game until kickoff. Like from now until kickoff, I could talk about this game.
And we will. We will be texting every day about this game, something about this game, I'm sure. So, but hey, at the end of the day, game's got to be played. And in this game, no amount of talk can prepare you for what's about to happen regardless of how it comes or how it goes on Saturday. So
it's an exciting one. I'm ready for it. We'll see what happens. I want to see one more football game after the Iron Bowl. That's my wish. Not just to win the Iron Bowl, but I want to see a bowl game. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm tired of.
Fair.
Well, I don't want to say I'm tired of my season ending early because it only happened last year. But last year was 1 year too many. Okay, I don't like Auburn not being bowl eligible. It sucks. It's terrible. I want to see them play in a game, even if it's the freaking Birmingham Bowl. I need to see it. So please, for my sake, my sanity, we'll see.
We will. Indeed, we will.
That was a lot of Iron Bowl talk, and like I said, I could keep going, but